Ladies and gentlemen, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome to the show the Queen of Mount Tam, Kati Laan. Kati has just blazed herself to a second place finish at last weekend's Hurt 100 in Hawaii. She joins us to give us a breakdown about that race. I'm sorry, I said second place female finish at last weekend's Hurt 100 in Hawaii. She joins us to give us a breakdown of that race, a look back at her first female finish at San Diego 100 last summer. Congratulations to that. We'll also talk about her upcoming races at Canyons, where she's currently signed up for the 100K distance, as well as the Cascade 100. I think someone's got a little appetite for running hundos. Kati is originally from Estonia. More on that later. She lives in Mill Valley, California, with her husband and 3 active children, a handsome dog named Winston, I believe that's right, and a cat, Watson, excuse me, and a cat that doesn't care about anything. She is joining us live at the San Francisco Running Store in San Anselmo, where she competes on the legit SFRC running team. Kati, welcome to the show. My first question is, I'm excited to speak with running royalty, the Queen of Mount Tam. But if you don't mind me asking, why do they call you the Queen of Mount Tam? And is there a king?
It's a mystery. Thank you for having me. It's very nice to be on the show. And I guess the Queen of Mount Tam. It's kind of funny. It all started with some of my friends and I doing a lot of Mount Tam summits during the COVID year, where we weren't really allowed to do any races or anything, and it was the only trail nearby really that we'd love to do, and it all culminated with me doing a 100 miler with 16 summits in one go.
That is quite impressive, and you did that in 32 hours with an elevation of 40,000 feet. And I understand that there is an echo going on in the background, so we apologize for that. So we're going to be working on that the best we can, folks. So thanks for your patience. So for the folks who don't know, you live in Mill Valley. Mill Valley is north of San Francisco in Marin County. So just to go past the Golden Gate Bridge and keep going for a few more minutes and you're there. Mount Tam is a significant part of, I think, your story, because you have access to a really beautiful part of California, which also lends itself to superior running conditions. It's mountainous, it's hilly, it's rocky, rooty, at times. It's cool, it can get hot, it offers a lot. So what does Mount Tam mean to you?
Honestly, for me, it feels when I see Mount Tam, I feel like I'm at home. It's the little, everybody who's from around here, or even maybe not, you kind of look at the mountain and you see the little fire lookout on the tippy top. And that's like sort of part of it. When you climb the mountain, you have to go to the fire lookout and touch the door. Otherwise, you haven't completed an official summit. And it's just, to me, it's just my backyard and my home, and how lucky am I to live here, really.
Well, you just recently placed second female at Hurt 100 in Hawaii. That was just last weekend. So congratulations on that. You finished in 26 hours, 46 minutes. For those who are just imagining just a beautiful, lush, sunny run in Hawaii that's just beautiful and just a lot of like aloha and grass skirts, it's not that at all.
No.
So can you give us a taste of what people can expect if they were to sign up and do Hurt? And there's a reason why they call it Hurt, folks.
Yes, there's a reason. I mean, there's a couple of reasons, I'm sure. First, Hurt stands for the Hawaii Ultra running team. And secondly, there's no way, even if you're however much you train, there's no way those trails are not going to hurt you. And I mean, as an example, like after the race, I was wearing my jacket proudly, the finisher's jacket, and two of the local, just randomly people on the street to talk with us, and were like, "Oh, you did hurt. I know those trails. I wouldn't even hike them. Like, why? Why is there a race on those trails?" And that really just sums it up. The trails are extremely rooty, rocky. It's always up and down. It's sort of they're definitely runnable parts, but it's loops on the course. So it's 5 loops of 20 miles. And I can say, like, by the third loop, I was like, where are the runnable parts? I just, first 2 loops, maybe you can run, but then you slow down, and it's a hard course. It's a lot of elevation, over 24,000 feet, and a lot of rooty, rocky outs and backs. And it's all under canopy, so it also can get wet and slippery and all of that. So, and there's creek crossings.
A lot of creek crossings. And and actually, they have warnings on their website about the bacteria that can exist in those creeks. So you can't like just drink out of the creeks. Not that anyone would, but still, it just, I think, elevates just how legit that race can be. And I can imagine that because you are under a canopy and because there's sun and wet and rain, and there's mixture just combines for humidity. So was the humidity a factor in that race, and how did you deal with that?
I feel like this year the conditions were actually pretty mild and good, and I prepared in a way by doing hot yoga 3 times a week. That's the only way, I think. Or maybe there's other ways, I'm sure. But I didn't really, it didn't really affect me that much. I feel like it was more just the trail, the conditions. So, and maybe just also because even everybody at the race said it was actually good conditions this year, and the creek crossings, even, there weren't like, the creeks were not high, it wasn't as bad. So all of that like played into it. It was sort of an easier year, I guess.
So how did you then prepare leading into Hurt? What was your training regimen like? What were some kind of key points that you wanted to nail in preparation for that? Because 24,000 feet and, not a lot of runnable, as you said, by the third lap, you're like thinking, where the hell is a flat? Not a lot of it. So what did you do incorporating that into your training just to kind of make it work for you?
I mean, first, I gotta say, I only got off the wait list 2 weeks before Hurt, and I was like 90% sure I'm not gonna be getting off the wait list. So my training was a little bit like half of what I should have been doing, I think, looking back. But I definitely picked trails around here and just did repeats and sections that were like rockier and wetter, and tried to keep up the hot yoga. My friend has a sauna. I went in her sauna. Thank you, friend. So doing all of that combined, I think that really helped. And I just practiced a lot of hiking because I knew that those trails are going to be mostly hiking. So that was my
one of my favorite questions to ask someone who does a hard ass run like that is, would you go back and do it again?
Well, I mean, now I say yes, but while I was running it, I was like, why did I even sign up? Like, what? Like, this is horrible. Why? But I would, and I have to say, it would be, half of it would be because of the community there and the ohana, as they call it, the family, and the way the race is organized. It's just, there's nothing else like it. It's amazing.
That's a pretty special thing to have in the community. You're right; it's just so special, and I mean, you'll find that type of community everywhere in ultra running, but there's, in particular, it even just is even extra. But would you do anything different in your training and your approach to Hurt?
I think I would just do more strength training. I think I under trained in that way. Like, my legs definitely didn't even though I tried to save myself and not go fast on the first loops, I it was funny. Like I was looking at my watch, which I try usually not to do, but I was like running 20 minute per mile downhill by the fourth loop. And I'm like, I'm running. What's happening? Why am I not moving faster? So I think it was a lot of pain.
So let's talk about that. I think
that. Yeah.
I think pain is something that I don't know that we talk about it a lot, especially on this show. I don't think I bring it up enough of just like the enduring pain and what that's like to really push through. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's a lot. But for you, what are some of the, like, what are your pain points? Like, what is it that you're having to push through that's painful for you?
Honestly, I think it's something different every time. And I usually just think, oh, well, this feels like my hip's about to fall off, but I guess this is what I'm dealing with this time. And just it, I think it was Anne Trayson who said it once. It's like it's gonna hurt, but it just hurts up to a point and then it can't hurt anymore. And keep on thinking that sometimes, and I just keep on thinking, oh, it's like this is how everybody feels. I'm not alone in this. And if I can just go with it, then it's okay. And maybe then work on it for next time, but then something else will hurt probably. But so it's there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, and that's a great mantra from Anne Trayson, by the way. I mean, we should probably print that and put it on a T-shirt. It's so good. So looking back at like what 6, 7 months ago, at your race in San Diego 100. This was your second attempt at doing San Diego 100, I believe, and you took first place female. Congratulations! That's what an accomplishment. When you went into that race, were you looking to podium like? This is a goal I set for myself, or was just like, I'm going to go there and just see how I do?
I think I'm always more like, I'm going to go see how I do, because I just don't want to feel disappointed if I set my sights on something like that. And there's just so many good runners out there that I don't feel like I could think like that I'm going to podium. But it's never for trying. I'm gonna always go and try, but I kind of thought, yes, I'm just gonna do my best and train the best I can. So,
would you call yourself a competitive person?
Yes, I am. I think.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, I kind of want to beat them, and 10 being, I'm going to go crush them. Where would you put yourself on that scale?
Oh, I don't know if I ever think like I want to crush somebody. I just think.
I don't mean literally crush them into like juice, like human juice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm directly translating here in my head. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm somewhere like 5, maybe 1 to 10.
Okay.
1 to 10.
Middle of the road.
I'm like, I just do my best. Hopefully this works.
So, it has been some time since you did that race, but looking back on it, at what point in that race did you realize that I'm going to nail this thing? I think I've got first place in the bag. At what point did you realize that? At what mile-ish?
I think it was like mile 60, or no, more like between mile 50 and 60, where I was surprised that I caught up with the leading lady who was in front of me all that time. And I could really move well. So it was a downhill. It's like a long downhill to one of the aid stations. And I could run it well and I could keep that up. And I was like, okay, if I can now keep it up from here on, then I have a chance. So it was like second half of the race for sure.
And like what, in that instance, what really just works for you? Is it the gut? The legs are all feeling good? Were there points where you weren't feeling great? They had to really push through something where the wheels are going to come off? Like, let's go back there and analyze that.
I feel like nutrition, like it's always nutrition for me. And I like the same in San Diego where I was climbing downhill and I had to do that same climb back up because it's an out and back. And I ran a lot of, like jogged, I don't know, shuffled a lot of that up and tried to push myself. By the time we got up, I was kind of queasy and I hadn't definitely eaten enough. And that's a huge mistake because then it's hard to get that nutrition in. And I slowed down a little bit, or for sure slowed down after that. But I was so amped up by the chance of, still maybe winning that I kept on going on Coke and water. Water.
Coke and water. It's just the best combination ever.
So good. So good.
So let's talk about your training and like what, in terms of running on trail, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? What are some things where you think, you know what, I think I could do this better?
I mean, I think I should just become a faster running. I'm a very fast hiker. And I'm good on surprisingly good on like technical stuff. Like my feet are really fast. They can go rocks downhill. But when it comes to running runnable trails, I think I'm just very average. So I should become faster.
How did you get into running?
I think it was just thanks to living around here. It's almost impossible if you have the time to go outside and hike. Be inspired by the beautiful trail. And I figured that's like my only chance to be alone and get some time off from everything. And that's how I started running. And just hiking with friends turned into running, and that's how I got into it.
All right. Well, more importantly, how did you get bitten by the ultra bug? Because it's not normal.
That is not normal. I guess. Yes. But now almost all my runners, so it's normal.
Well, you're in good company. But how did it start for you? How did you get introduced to ultra running and then decide that, you know what, I really like this?
I was actually inspired by one of my friend's husbands, a local runner named Kevin Styles, who told me about doing. He had just done UTMB, I think. And I had all the questions that somebody who doesn't know about running has in one go. Did you like how what? And he looked so normal. I was like, if you can do it, maybe I can do it. And then from there on, I was inspired.
So, I mean, you first started running ultras back in, according to Ultra Sign Up, back in 2015.
Yes.
And, but then, as you continued to run and compete in races, something switched inside you where you really went next level with your running. You started podium, you top 10 finishes, so something changed for you. What was that? Or what do you think it was?
I think it was several things. First of all, I stopped drinking. I think you hear that from a lot of ultra runners. But I think that was kind of a problem for me. So that was a good thing to do. And then I also got a coach. And actually stuck to some sort of training plan, which I don't know if I could do it on my own. And I think those two things mattered.
And at what point in your running career did you get a coach?
I think it was probably like 2 years into running. Yes, around there.
And if you want to get into this, it's perfectly okay. But I want to kind of go back a little bit to what you just said about, that you stopped drinking, and that really helped attribute to your success in running better, becoming a more healthy person.
Right.
So yeah, can we go back there for a second, and can you share a little more details about kind of where you're at with that? And then did it fuel, like, did running like fuel your fire to like stop drinking?
It definitely did. I mean, I kind of at some point it was like kind of scary that I could drink quite a lot in the evening and still go out for a long run in the morning. I may have not like felt good, but I still did it, and I don't know. It just felt off. It felt like the drinking part controlled other things, and it was not good.
Yeah. Um, thanks for sharing that. It can't be easy to go through that, and and recognize like this is an issue. I really need to deal with it.
Right.
And for some folks, it's not talking about you specifically. It's generally people who've got an addiction to substances, whatever it is. Like going from one thing to another addiction, like of ultra running. It seems to be they kind of go hand in hand a little bit, and I think that's a wonderful thing. To whatever it is of taking something that is not healthy and then flipping it on its head and going to something that is healthy, whatever it is. If it's volunteering, if it's going back to school, exercise. So, good on you for just stopping it and recognizing yourself that, what, this isn't working for me anymore, but this is, and by the way, I want to kick some serious ass at it too. So, as you can tell, Kati has a bit of an accent. Kati is from Estonia. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, if that's okay. Because I just would like to get to know you better about who you are as a person. And we spoke before the interview, and you said you moved to the United States 12 years ago. And I like to highlight that just recently, Kati got the wonderful news that blank, please, Kati, share the news.
Yes, so just end of last year, I became American citizen.
Yay. Congratulations. Yay. That is wonderful news. I'm so proud of you that you've done that. That is something that my mom did. She's from Mexico, and she became a U.S. citizen, and it's just a beautiful thing. What does it mean to you to be a U.S. citizen now?
That's a good question. I think it feels like the right thing because I feel at home here. This is where my life is. This is where I put all my work in contributions, and I just it makes me feel more at home even to be a citizen now.
That's wonderful. What brought you to America?
It was actually my husband's work. And we were actually living in London before moving here, and he was traveling for work a lot. And we had three small children, and quite hard to manage the travel and everything. So we ended up moving where the work was.
Well, congratulations! You landed in quite a nice spot, if you mind me saying so.
Yes.
So, going back, so you are running Canyons 100K later this spring, and then after that, Cascade Crest 100. So it seems like maybe you've got a bit of an appetite for running hundreds, or discovering something in yourself that there's something about hundreds that you enjoy. Maybe you hate it. I don't know. But why hundreds? I mean, what's your why?
I think I feel like that is maybe the distance where I'm best at. And the second thing I think is the way it truly makes me feel. It's one of my friends said before my first 100 that, oh, it's just like a life in a day. You feel all ups and downs, and all of those will pass. And that's just a wonderful feeling, I feel like, to do in a race as well. And it just, maybe it sounds weird, but it just makes me live my life better, like the rest of it. So far, at least, I feel like that's really helped me be a better person too. So I really like doing them for that reason. Not too many.
And
Not
when
too many.
and is there something that you get out of 100 that you don't necessarily feel like you get out of a 50K or a 50 miler?
Oh my God. First thing that comes to my mind is like, yeah, it's just so way more miserable. But it's also like, I feel like it's equal, like the pain and the suffering of 100 is also equal to the joy that you get out of it. And maybe that's why I like it so much. And just, I don't know. I don't know. Probably afterwards, I will think of something good on this. But right now, I think that's how I feel.
So, I mean, you have a full house
Yes.
of
Yes.
3 kids, a husband, dog Watson, and a cat that doesn't like anything.
No.
So how do you balance it all of just trying to fit in your running schedule with family life?
I feel like I have a great husband, so he does a lot, and so I have the time to run, and I'm really great. I don't. I think how sometimes we don't really think when we're doing this sport that it's really like I feel entitled to be able to do this. Not everybody can who would be really good at it. Like they just won't have the time or even the money to try. Like it's the races and everything, and so I think I'm really grateful for my family's support in that. Like they help me out a lot and let me go, let me go and do my long runs and short runs and be grumpy. So I think that's
I
how.
think that's how. What do they think about you running hundreds?
Sorry?
What do they think about you running hundreds?
I think they just
I
think,
think they just
oh,
think, oh,
there she goes
there she goes
again,
again,
and then
and
they're also
then
proud.
they're also proud.
I
Good,
think they
good,
are.
good. They are. So, success in ultra running, which you're having, it doesn't come easy. So I'd like to kind of dive into that a little bit to get to know how what your training is like. So, what are Kati's rules for training for ultras?
I know it
I
sounds
know it
maybe
sounds
silly,
maybe
but I
silly,
think
but
my
I think
main
my
rule is
main
like
rule is like
to get enough
to get
rest.
enough rest.
I don't r-
I
wait,
don't
I
wait.
don't
I
run
don't
a
run
lot
a lot
every
every
week. I don't run
week.
every day. I maybe run like 5 times a week usually, and I balance it with good food and rest, and just I think that maybe works for me. But just being consistent still in that,
In
and
that
not
and not
overtraining.
overtraining. So, how many miles are you putting in for hurt, for instance? What does your max run look like? Are you doing doubles like back to back, multiple runs a day? Like, what works for you to help you just kind of keep that level of success going?
I mean, for hurt, it's kind of embarrassing, but I didn't train that much. I had a
I
race
had a
end of
race end of
November.
November.
It's called Guat Tipsy. It's a local race that's very hilly and sort of like a little similar to hurt, at least like some parts of it. And then the next weekend, we came up with this with our friends. It's called a double bastard. So you have to go and do the California International Marathon, which I did. So it was like long runs, sort of 2 weekends in a row, but like totally different. And I'd never done a road marathon before. That really hurt. And then I was like, okay, I'm like work first on the wait list. I'm not moving up, and it seems like I'm not getting in. So I guess I don't need to train that much. So I didn't do that much in the coming weeks. But then once I got off the wait list, I was like, okay, I have one weekend, which is when I did my big runs, and I did I do like the back-to-back days. I always do them, and I usually do like 3 weekends. But for her, I only got one weekend, and so I would do with a lot of elevation, one run on Saturday, and then Sunday I was gonna do one long run to back it up, but I actually split that up. So I did like 2 runs, one morning, one evening. So it was like one big week
one big
of
week
training
of
for
training
her.
for her. And if I understand correctly, you also scored yourself a Boston qualifier. Is that right?
I did. Yes,
I did.
somehow.
Yes, somehow. And was that your goal? Were you going for a Boston qualifier, or just like, well, I got a BQ, I guess I'm going to try and get into Boston now? Like, were you aiming
Yes.
for that, or is
Yes.
just you were aiming for it?
I did check
I
the
did
times
check the
before,
times
I gotta
before, I
say,
gotta say,
and then it
and then it
wasn't.
wasn't.
I think it was
I
for
think
my
it was
age
for
group. It
my
was
age
like
group. It was like
350.
350.
So it wasn't too bad. But
Too bad.
and
But
then I was
and then
okay.
I was
Just
okay.
chill, and
Just
if you
chill,
can
and
be
if you
under that
can be
time
under
rate,
that
if
time
not,
rate, if not,
also okay.
also okay. Well, congratulations on your Boston qualifier. That's wonderful
Thank
news.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. So what is your, you know, what are you always consistent about in your training? Like, no excuses. I have to do this. Otherwise, it's just not going to work for me.
That's a good question
That's a
too.
good question too. I think
I just try to not
try
miss
to not
more
miss
than
more than
2 of my runs
2 of
per
my
month
runs per month
that my coach
that my coach
schedules. So I really
schedules.
do
So I
try to
really do
stick
try to
to
stick to the
schedule
schedule
that she
that
posts for
she
me.
posts for me.
And I
And
always do
I
miss
always
runs,
do miss runs, but
just never
just
more than
never
2
more
per
than
month.
2 per month. Yeah. Are you prone to getting injured at all? Do you have like a chronic nagging injury at all?
So I've never
So
been
I've
really
never been
injured.
really injured.
I don't want to think
I
now.
don't
I
want to
probably
think now. I
changed it.
probably changed it.
But
But
I
I
do
do
have this one
have
issue
this
where
one
my big
issue where my big
toes
toes don't
so I
bend.
have like
So I have like
arthritis in both
arthritis in both
those areas. But
those areas.
I've
But
had them
I've
since
had them
before I
since
started
before I
running. So
started
I guess
running. So I guess
that's not really a
that's not
running
really a
injury.
running injury.
I work around
Yeah.
it.
Work around it. The world would be so much better if arthritis did not exist.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you. Yes. Yeah.
it's true.
It's true. And so, who inspires you? Like,
I
I
think
I
like
think like
everyone in ultra
everyone in
running, I
ultra
just
running, I
look up
just look up
to
to
like a lot of the
like a lot
top
of the top
elite runners.
elite
But
runners, but
I think
I
mostly
think
I'm actually
mostly I'm
inspired
actually
by
inspired by my group of friends,
and
and
all of them are
all of them
incredible
are
runners,
incredible runners,
but also
but
incredible
also
people.
incredible people.
And
And
I gotta say,
I
during
gotta say,
hurt,
during hurt,
I had my best
my
friend like
best friend,
the same
like
day
the same day I got
off the wait list.
off
I
the
bought
wait list, I
tickets, and
bought
she bought
tickets, and
tickets
she
to
bought
come and
tickets to
support
come and
me. And
support
during
me.
the
And
race,
during
she
the
would give
race, she
me
would give me
updates of
updates
who's
of
checking
who's
in and
checking
who's
in and who's
sending cheers.
sending cheers.
And it was all my
And it
running
was all my
friends,
running friends,
and not just
and not
local,
just
but
local,
from other
but from
areas.
other
And
areas. And
that was like
that
the
was
best
like
thing
the
to
best
hear,
thing to hear.
and that
And
inspired
that
me to do
inspired
better.
me to do better. I've seen that when you do hundreds that you sometimes do them solo, where is that because you're unsupported, not using a pacer, no crew?
So like that when I have done
When
it
I've
solo.
done it solo? Yeah.
Yes, so two
Yes. So
times I
two
think it was
times I
like
think it was
officially
like
all
officially
solo,
all
no crew,
solo,
no
no crew, no
pacer.
pacer.
Yes, so
Yes.
that's
So that's
I think there's
I
in
think
San
there's
Diego
in
you
San
can do
Diego
it
you
that
can do it that
way, and
way,
Los
and
Angeles
Los
Crest.
Angeles Crest. Yeah, so Angeles Crest is quite the beast, and I want to ask you about that in a second. But what's the decision on not using? Why are you doing it solos? Because you want to do it solo, or you just like you can't find anyone to to pace you or support you during the race?
Actually, for
Actually,
Angeles
for
Crest,
Angeles Crest,
I tried to
I
get
tried to
in
get in
easier, and I think the
easier, and
way
I
to
think
get
the
in
way to
easier
get
is
in
when you
easier
do
is
it
when you
solo.
do it solo. And
Once I got into
once I got
Angeles
into
Crest,
Angeles Crest,
I was like, now
I
I
was
need
like,
to do
now I
San
need to
Diego
do San
solo
Diego
to
solo
practice
to
for it.
practice for it.
So those were
So
the
those were
reasons.
the reasons.
Those
Actually.
were
Those were
my
my
two
two
first
first
hundreds
I did,
and
and
that was why.
that was why.
So I read that when you did AC 100, which is not, it's not an easy course. That's a rough course, and lots of sections of it are exposed. It's hot. It's rough. It is rough. And at mile 25, you just wanted to drop. You were like, I'm done here. According to your Instagram post, is that true? And what was going on for you at mile 25? And then, holy moly, you finished the damn race.
Yeah, I did. I did. I think.
I think.
Did I say that?
Did
I
I say
think it
that?
was
I
like
think it
more
was
like
more like
25 miles
25
before the
miles
finish.
before
I
the finish.
remember
I remember
Gotcha.
that there's a big
there's a
climb,
big
and
climb,
I just lost skin underneath my big toe
big
and
toe
like
and
front foot.
like front foot.
That really hurt.
That really hurt.
But there was this miraculous guy at the aid station who bandaged my foot, and it was sort of better, and I could keep on
I could
going.
keep on going.
So that really was something.
Thank goodness for those people who,
bandaging.
who can fix your feet. It's such an important part. And, by the way, I did an episode on fixing your feet. So go back and check that out, folks.
I will listen to it.
It is really, really good. So looking ahead to canyons, I see that you are signed up for the Western States training runs.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And so, are you hoping to compete for a golden ticket at canyons?
I mean, one can hope, but I don't think that's realistic. But I think, one of these years I will get in. Just be a lottery. I must. A lot of tickets by now, and I think just doing the training camp will be good for the future.
So
even if I won't run
even
it
if I
this
won't
year,
run it
then
this year, then
be more ready next time.
So, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Kati Laan, who is broadcasting from the San Francisco Running Company store in San Anselmo, California, where she's part of their running team, a legit running team that is. And so I wanted to ask you about that. That how did you come to be part of SFRC?
I mean, I just really loved shopping at the store, and always just being part of that community, joining in the run sometimes that they do on Saturdays, and I was like, oh, I really would appreciate the job where I can be there for my kids, and wouldn't be something that I don't love doing, but something that I love doing. And so that's how I ended up just asking if they need help. And here I am. So
well, congratulations on being part of such a great bunch of runners. That's very exciting. It's got to feel pretty good to be part of that success. So one of my last questions for you is like, what's on your bucket list? What are some things that you aspire to do in the future that you really will be meaningful to you that you want to do someday?
I mean, I think on my bucket maybe a couple of Europe. So I wouldn't mind one day to do the tour in Europe, and then maybe Cocodona 250, something like that. But that's definitely not this year.
Well, I hope that you achieve those goals and have that success. Kati Laan, thank you so much for being part of our very first live stream for Ultra Running Magazine. We all over here appreciate you making the time for us, and continue all the luck in the world.
Thank you so very much. And And good luck to you with everything.
Thank you so much. Well, we talk to you again soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.